Hi guys, how you doing? Even before I say my name, I wish I was there in Moe talking to you guys. It's both embarrassing and really weird to be talking alone right now on a video, but I hope it's going to be very fruitful, even if I'm not there to talk to you guys physically. So, my name is Brian Nyagol. I'm the CEO of VibeCampo and the lead developer. By show of hands, oh no, I can't see you, but I hope most of you know about VibeCampo. VibeCampo is a social network for campus and college students and alumni. So the platform encompasses everyone who's a student and also an alumni. VibeCampo started in Mo University, something that I'm proud of and something that I hope you guys would be proud of now or maybe years to come. I was scheduled to talk to you guys today about business plan and management in entrepreneurship, and I will take you through my experience as the CEO of VibeCampo. And just to tell you a little bit of the story, VibeCampo started in the year 2014, or rather 2013, and we officially launched in May of 2014. So that makes it about 3.5 years since VibeCampo was formed. And as you very well know, people make mistakes in their endeavors every other day, in management, in starting up a company, in doing different stuff. People make mistakes. And what I love to do is to share these mistakes with people so that they don't have to do the same mistakes. You learn from my mistakes, but you don't learn from doing the mistakes and learning from them. I believe that when I have an experience and sharing it to you so that you can make your company to be what it should be without making the mistakes. So I'll be talking about business plan a little bit and more of management because I am very passionate about sharing my errors in bringing up my company. This doesn't mean that we are there as a company as VibeCampo, but it's good to share milestones that we cover and things that we go through so that you guys who want to start or are in the process of starting can learn from them. So we have a long way to go, and I think that we still have a lot to learn. And I promise that I will always share my experiences with people. And as you will see, I do this every day. And whatever I learn, whatever concept, whatever content, whatever experience I get, I'm very free to share it. So right away, let's go and start. Talking about this. When you start with business plan, when you have an idea to start a company, it doesn't really matter what it's all about. Normally, when you start a company, you start it from a blank slate, an idea, something that you think can work. You have nothing in mind on how to do it, but you just think it could work to make up something great. So at that point, you have nothing in mind totally. So the best thing to do is to go or have a drawing board and think about your business. Think about that idea that you want to implement as a business and capitalize on starting everything from the bottom and making sure that if you explain or if you take time to explain to me your business, I can understand it. I can see your vision. I can see where you're headed. And with that, if you can buy me or someone else or a friend of yours to buy into your idea or buy into your business, then certainly you will have a 360-degree understanding of what you're all about. So I want to start by figuring out, by helping you figure out what you need to have when you're bringing up your business in terms of doing the business plan. And I have very key points. I will focus on very key points, some things that you need to start on. Business plans are different types, and I won't say that I'll cover everything. I will give you the key things that you need to consider when you're starting a business and that should appear in your business plan. And I must say, this is not the masterpiece of all business plans. So it is a concept, a small concept, or a small template that you can use to make sure that you can communicate your business value correctly to any person who wants to hear it. I'll go straight to number one. If you want to start a business or if you have an idea, if you want to make a product, you're not going anywhere if you do not know who is going to consume your product. That means you have to understand and know your market. before you come up with a product, you already have in mind who is going to consume this product. If you're making an app, who is going to use this application? If you're making maybe a toy, who's going to use this toy? If you're making a pen, who's going to use this pen? If you're making anything, you have to know your market, because that's where your product is going to go. So that is the first thing that you have to consider when you're doing a business plan. Put down, identify the person who will use your product, and make sure that the product that you're making for them perfectly suits that market. For example, if you take the concept of VibeCampo, the people who use our product is you, as a student, as an alumni, basically youth between 18 years to 35 years old. So that is the extent of our market. So you have to describe and be very sure who is going to consume your product and how they're going to use it. So, and that product must create value for them. Secondly, you want to look at you're getting into a market. That market probably has someone who is already in it. You want to make a pen. How many companies are already making pens? And you want to know that if they are making pens and you want to make pens too, are you doing anything different? How are you going to compete with them? And that starts by knowing who they are and what they're doing. So you have to be able to know who your competitors are. So if you're making a pen, you probably know who your competitors are. Your competitors are big. Your competitors are, any other company that makes pens. And so clearly defining who your competition is will enable you to try and do something different in the market that will make your product be outstanding. Next is that, now you've got your market, you've known who does the same thing as you, and you've known that, you've known what they do, and you've also defined the good things or the better thing about your product. Now, the next thing is, you know the customer. How do you get to the customer? What are your channels? What are your paths to the customer? Because if you don't know that, then it means your product will never reach the hands of the customer. So it means the next step after knowing your competition is knowing or defining your channels to the customer, or defining your paths to the customer. How are you going to reach the customer? How are you going to make sure that at one point you have a customer holding your pen in their hands? So that is something that you cannot forget, and that's something that is very important, because you need to define exactly how you're going to get there. One example to a path to customers is, you can use existing people around you. Normally, when a product is starting, you start by looking at the people around you, your friends, your family, your classmates, your colleagues at work. You look at all around you, because these people will become your first customers. If you can convince your friends to take up your product, I don't think you can convince a stranger to take it up. So at least your friend has a bias for you, because they know you. They would like to get something that you develop. So if you can buy your friends in, rest assured you can buy anyone else. So you have to know, where are you going to start? Am I going to start starting with my friends, and then letting the message spread outwards by word of mouth onto other clients, onto other users of your product? You can also say, like, if your company, or if you yourself have got a little bit of a good presence online, so you can say, now I'm going to make a pen, and I'm going to use my networks on Facebook, or whatever social network it is, or every platform that it is. So as long as you have that online presence anywhere, you can say that my product is going to be sold, or I'm going to get customers through my online presence. That will be your channel to reach to the client, or to the customer of to the consumer of your product. So you must know, what paths are you going to follow to get to the customer. It's like, how will the customer get to hear about you? So that is very key that you know that, because it will inform everything that we're going to talk about, even in the next steps. The next step that you're going to do is, I'm going to make a pen. How much is it going to take to make this pen? And what raw materials am I going to use? What kind of manpower will you need, and how much will you need? So what is your cost structure? The keyword there is cost structure. So in all your engagements, let me just get the camera in the right place, in the right position. So you have to know what kind of expenditures will you make in the entire production process or in the entire production of your product? If you're making an application, if you're you probably need to host it somewhere, you probably need an external, maybe UI designer, or you need a UX designer, or you need a backend designer, or all those things. So how do those costs play into your production? And you have to know exactly how your costs are incurred. If you need some money to do a specific job, that makes part of your cost structure. So you have to know how much will you spend in your product. And at this point, you'll be able to also know your production value. And when you know your production value, you can basically tell how much you're gonna make, and from there you can know how much profit you're gonna make. So it's that simple. You have to know what will take your costs. Another thing is about, well, you're making a product, you know your market, you know your competitors, and you know the right channels to follow to get to your customer. And what next is, how then do you bring in revenue? How will you make that customer take his money out of his pocket and put into your hands? So in what ways will your product generate revenue for you? Normally, this is a very tricky point because it differs from one thing to another, from one business to another. There are different types of businesses. For example, there's buy and sell business. I want to buy a pen for 10 bob and sell it for 20 shillings. So it means I'm going to make a profit of 10 shillings. That is very well defined. You say, I have my clients, I have my customer base as students who can write using pens, and I have my cost structure. My cost is the cost of buying a pen, 10 shillings. And with my competitor, I know them, I know my competitors. So I'm going to sell this pen at 20 shillings. So I'll get a revenue of what? Of 20 shillings, and my profit 10 shillings. So you have to know, what are your main revenue streams? How is your product going to make money for you? Because all of us make stuff. We think of doing stuff, but something that informs our decisions, or that informs our ambition to do something, is basically how much will I get out of it? What is in there for me? So if you're making a product, something that should always be at the back of your mind is about revenue. How are you going to make money? I mean, where is the money in your product? So that's a big question to answer. And like I just said, sometimes it's not very straightforward. You may want to know how you'll make money of your product, but mostly online systems are very tricky in terms of knowing how your revenue streams. But with the right revenue model, if you develop a revenue model that you can use, then you can create a revenue stream for your product. So that is very important. That's something that you have to consider, and that is very imperative to the success of your business. You have to know how you're going to make money. Now, there's a saying that says that no man is an island, right? So you can never be able to achieve all the objectives of your business as a single person or as a single entity. At one point, you'll have people who work together with you, organizations that support you. You will have other companies that you can outsource to, guys who can bring in resources into your company, and companies and organizations whose vision kind of come in contact with yours. So these people will be your partners. So in the entire production of your product, and in the entire life of your business, who are going to be your partners? And without partners, I tell you, it's really difficult to succeed, because no one is a master of everything. There's one thing you know, and you don't know the other thing. And most businesses today are moving from, there's a concept where it said that if you can't make, then you buy it, right? So if you can't make something, if you need this material for your pen, if you're making a pen as a product, and you cannot make the plastic, or you cannot make the moldings for the plastic, what will you do? You have to outsource that business. You have to buy that service from someone else, or that product from someone else, so that you make your end product, which is a pen. So if you can make it, then you have to buy it. So that's one thing that you have to know, that who's going to support you, who's going to be able to to bring in resources into your business that can be able to help you move your business. Next is, which parameters inform you that your business is succeeding or your business is failing. These ones are called key performance indicators. If you're selling a pen, for example, what things will you look at and say, well, I think I'm doing well in business, or something is going wrong and the market is becoming bad? So these key performance indicators will inform you if your business is succeeding or not. For example, if you're selling pens, like the example we've been using, you have to know that how many pens are you selling over what time. So if you're selling only 10 pens in a day, or or you could be selling 100 pens in a day, or maybe you're selling 1 million pens in a month, those metrics will tell you the successfulness of your product. Okay, are we together up to that? So the key performance indicators will tell you whether you're succeeding or you're failing. And then what happens with them? When you look at them, you're able to readjust. You're able to readjust your processes. You're able to readjust your marketing. You're able to readjust your cost structure to, for more profit, to lessen the cost, to make the production cheaper and to make the price cheaper in the long run, and to increase sales and something like that. So you have to know what metrics tell you whether you're failing or you're actually booming. So you have to know that. And then one last thing that I could include in this is about where do you want to go? Today you are starting a business. Where do you see your business in 1 year's time? Or where do you see your business in 5 years' time? What are your milestones? What do you have in your head that you want to achieve in the next 1 year in your business? For example, in the same pen example, how many pens do you want to sell by the end of the year? How many people do you want to employ by the end of the year? How much revenue do you want to make by the end of the year? How many customers do you want to serve by the end of the year? You see, all those things are things that you plan to do. And as you can see, there's a little bit of a relationship between the KPIs and the planned milestones, because you plan milestones, the KPIs will tell you, are these milestones being achieved or they're not being achieved? So the milestones will tell you exactly if they're being achieved or not. I think I've talked about the business plan in short, and up to that point, I will just say that what I just gave is not a masterpiece. It is a small concept, a template that you can actually use to direct you in achieving your business success. Now, on to the second thing about management. Entrepreneurship is hard. I can tell you for sure. If anyone tells you that it's fun, yes, it could be fun, but it's not hard. It's not easy. It's not like how many people praise it and say, oh no, when you become an entrepreneurial, you have your own time, you can wake up anytime you want. All that is a hoax, I'm telling you. It's never that easy. And so when you get into entrepreneurship, you have to know that you're going to make mistakes, you're going to stumble, you're going to get stressed, you're going to wake up early, you're going to sleep late, and you're going to have very limited time for yourself and even for your friends. It's a whole hectic environment. But the thing is, what matters is, at the end of it all, how do you treat, or how passionate are you in what you're doing? Because entrepreneurship is hard as it is, and the only thing that will keep you afloat in entrepreneurship is your passion towards achieving your goals, and essentially your ultimate goals in doing what you're doing. That's why they say that being a good entrepreneur is being that entrepreneur who does what they love. So if you can do what you love, then you will never get tired of doing it. Even if there are problems, you'll keep doing and you'll keep doing and you'll keep doing, and you'll never stop until the day you say, now I think I've done this right. So I'm going to share with you some of the mistakes that I have made as a person in managing VibeCampo. And it's kind of embarrassing to say this, but I never knew that it takes mistakes to be somewhere. I know that VibeCampo is not somewhere yet because you have not joined VibeCampo, so it means there's still mistakes I'm making in everything. So in as much as you are not there, you the guy looking at me or the lady looking at me, as long as you are not on VibeCampo today or at this moment, it means I'm failing. So according to my KPIs, if I'm looking at the number of users and I'm looking at guys from my university being on VibeCampo, then it means I'm failing, and I'm really sad about that. But anyway, if you find time, you need to check you need to check out VibeCampo, because I love young people, and everything I do, especially on my entrepreneurial entrepreneurial steps, I try to build solutions that empower the young people. So I mean, it's for you from me, from me and from the whole of VibeCampo team to you. So I really invite you very specifically yourself to be able to be on VibeCampo and join us there. I mean, there's something I shared today that says that Steve Jobs once said that the people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the real people who really do so. So my question is, are you one of those people? If you want to change the world, if you are crazy enough to think that you can create something, you can make a difference in the world, then you are the person who is most likely going to do it. So are you one of them? Now, on to my mistakes. Please don't laugh. I'm expecting no laughs from the crowd. I'll be told if you guys laugh, but let's just get this straight. I've made mistakes, and these mistakes I've learned from them. So one thing that I've done that wasn't right is, you start something and you're like, so this thing that I've started, let me start by doing this small thing. Let me, just make something small. Let me just, try and, put it out there and let's see what people will say about it. And so you start doing things in ways that are not appropriate. You start, taking things lightly. My point is, you need to get things right from the word go. You need to get things right from the beginning. Because if you do not know your direction, if you don't know where you are heading, then you'll be blind to any other thing that will inform your success. When we were starting VibeCampo, we never knew that it would come to be a platform that will help young people like you to discover, explore, and grow their interests and skills, and even talents. So we were just starting up a social network, something new in Kenya and Africa, something that we thought would make a difference. So as time went by, we refined, or we started looking at the things that we could offer the young people that other big players in the market are not doing, or things that people like Facebook are big or are too big to bend low towards, like helping you to nurture your talent, helping you to showcase your talent. I mean, Facebook or any other platform just gives you an opportunity to share something. I mean, whatever it is, you can share it. But VibeCampo is designed to help you to showcase your talent, to discover, to join communities, to do what you love doing, while taking goals and clearing those goals one at a time, while growing yourself and becoming the person you want to be. So get it right from the word go. Know where you're going, have your business plan well put out, and know exactly where you want to go. So you have to get it right from the first day. You have to get it right. Don't do anything that you just think that people will like. I mean, you have to get everything right from the very word go as you start. The next thing is that in as much as I'm saying that you have to get it right from the word go, there's this concept of a minimum viable product. Let me ask you a question. For example, if Facebook let me use WhatsApp. If WhatsApp brought all the features it has now, I mean, features of adding status updates, features of adding videos, video calls and voice calls, adding text statuses, what else? All the end-to-end encryption. What else? The profile pictures, the group chats, everything. If all this came at once to you, what would happen? How would you get to WhatsApp? WhatsApp started as something that even a small kid, as long as this kid has an access to a smartphone and they know their number, they can literally register on WhatsApp. It was that simple because it was meant for chat. That's it. So over time, the product developed, things were added, features were added, and it became more and more complex. But what happens? People learn to adopt these new features step by step. So it means that as you're doing your product, you have to develop something, the minimum viable product, something like the bare minimum of what you want your users to do. If you're developing an application, for example, you should not pack your application with so many features that people will get confused on what to really use. I made this mistake. I mean, I can remember 2 years ago, VibeCampo had like over 10 features, and all these features were underutilized. No one ever used those features, and I spent time, hours and hours of coding, doing stuff there, thinking that people would use those features, but people didn't see value in them. People didn't actually figure them out. They had no way to reach them. So the mistake was putting a lot of features that were underutilized, that could not be used. So the only visible feature was the feature of social network. So when you're doing something, you need to outline your major features, or your major the major things, or let's say 3 things that you would like your product to do. 3 simple things. If you're making a pen, for example, a pen could be a flash drive. A pen could be a light pen to use on a touch screen of a computer. So a pen could also be an ink pen that can be used to write. A pen can also be a camera, you see. So it can do so many things. But if the pen was invented with all those features, it means we would be overwhelmed. So we would not know what to use the pen for, because everything is all packed in the same place. So if you're making a pen, make a pen for writing, and then say, well, hey, you guys, after 1 month, say, we now have a camera on the pen, so you can actually use the pen to do it, to take videos and something like that. So everything has to come step by step. So you have to develop a minimum viable product, something that will work for your users and that will satisfy the exact need that you want to satisfy, or the pain point that you want to solve. All right. Another thing is that feedback. How many times do you even ask someone? I mean, if you made a presentation like now, the one that I'm making, normally I like to ask people that I talk to or that I make presentations to, that how did you find it? Is there any mistake I did? Can I do something better? So I always ask friends such things. So it's good to get feedback. Some people may tell you, oh no, you did this wrongly, you did this well, this was a thumbs up. So all these things come from all the sides, and you have to be able to invest as a business. When you're doing a product, you don't have to think alone, because you are just one client. If you're making a pen, you're just one client of your product. So there are thousands of other people who will use a product. So you have to get what they have to say about your product, and that is feedback. You have to come up with an inbuilt mechanism of getting feedback. You have to see on how to manage feedback, because feedback is negative or positive. So you have to know how to manage negative feedback. You have to know how to embrace positive feedback. You have to know how to make sure that you improve to solve or to react to negative feedback. You have to know what you need to do in order to counteract negative feedback, and all those things. So feedback is very important. Even in your design, even in before you do anything in your app, it's good to actually ask people, do you think you need a new pen? Do you think other brands are not doing are not doing it best? You have to get some information about the people who will use, from the people who will use the product, at least to help you, to guide your path towards, as you make your product. So feedback is very, very, very important. So that is something you have to consider when you're either improving your product or making your product, or in the process of iterating your product into different stages. Now this one last thing is a little bit hard for me. Even for me, it was hard for me to really comprehend. I have a lot of friends who advise me. I have a lot of people outside there who believe in quality, who believe in good stuff. And I mean, I have people who have told me, Brian, this is bullshit. You're messing around. You're sleeping. You're doing what? Things that pinch your ears. Things that they stab you. They stab your heart. They stab all the time that you've used to do something. If you spent all your time designing something, or designing a product, designing a pen, designing an app, and someone comes and tells you, my friend, you've been doing nothing, I mean, how do you feel? How does that make you feel? you've spent all your time, days and nights, doing something, and someone comes and tells you, man, no, it can't work this way. This one is just nothing. I mean, it won't take you anywhere. I mean, it feels so bad, and that is feedback all the same. So you have to that when someone tells you that this cannot work, what I'm trying to arrive at is that at any point in building your startup, please, and I repeat, please, divorce mediocrity. Divorce mediocrity. Many African or many Kenyan young people, many Kenyan entrepreneurs do stuff that are really mediocre, because I mean, from how a product is designed, from how communication is done, everything doesn't look consistent. So we have to be able to divorce mediocrity. Do something perfect. When something is done, you better spend a lot of time in it, but make sure what comes out of that process is of quality, depicts 0% mediocrity. It's perfect, it's elegant, it's perfect. I mean, just perfect to your best. So you have to do your best in everything. Get that best force out of you. So that is something that we have to know, that for you to succeed in doing something, you have to do your best. You have to avoid mediocrity. Don't just do something because it can be done. Do something because it should be done, and it should be done in a specific way. So if you're doing design, if you're doing marketing, if you're doing development, if you're doing maybe consultation, if you're meeting partners, have elegance, have quality in everything. And at the top of everything, you must make sure that when someone sees anything that you make, or when someone sees you, they see what you make, or they see what you've made. So at any given point, make sure that everything is top notch. So do not embrace mediocrity. I hope those mistakes that I've made, or that we've made as a company, will help you, make the best out of your startup or your entrepreneurship activity, and that it helps you, grow yourself to become, something that you want to be. So, one last thing. I'm sorry for taking so much time, but I really want to communicate this. We as young people, I am a young person, and we face a lot of problems today. Start with unemployment, start with poverty, start with most of us lack direction and inspiration. We have stuff with crime, all these things that governments and organizations, the UN, are trying to solve. They're trying from right, left, and center, but I think that the solutions to these problems are not anywhere but in us ourselves. Why do I say this? Because if I'm playing guitar on the streets and I'm asking guys to give me money and I'm playing guitar on the streets, I can't sleep hungry. I can't sleep hungry. If I just go and sing in an event, I can't sleep hungry. I can be poor. I can be poor. I can buy my clothes. I can do anything. So, as VibeCampo community, we believe that leveraging that simple thing that comes to us naturally, which is our talent and our skills, can help us to alleviate all these problems that we face as young people. So, so what I mean is that we have built a platform for you. The platform is built for you to help you to create, to help you be able to nurture your talents, to help you to be able to nurture your skills, and to be able to nurture your interest to your advantage. You can discover, you can explore, and you can grow them to a point that it can give you a livelihood. That is what VibeCampo will do for you. And I assure you that everything that we do on our platform will make sure that you as a young person is able to be independent, and your talent and your skills can become in itself an employment for you. So I invite you today, if you get a minute, or if you get a minute just right now, you can get our app, VibeCampo app, on Play Store. Just search for VibeCampo, one word, or you can go to vibecampo.com and join us. We have 15,000 people waiting for you to interact and to grow yourself. So see you there, and cheers. Bye bye. Thank you. See you guys. Thank you very much.